Hey, it's Ryan with Lawn Crack, and boy, do I have a super boring video for you today. Hey, welcome back to Lawn Crack, and today we are going to be looking into some numbers, and this is in response to Matt's request from Restoration Landscape Company in Athens, Georgia, when he asked how to standardize mowing per square foot. Okay, so I'm going to kind of go over and beyond this because it's just getting into man-hour rate, and I think it's very hard for a lot of people to grasp this concept. So hopefully this video will clear it up. I have a very clear understanding in my head, but it is actually hard for me to communicate this. So this is the best thing I could come up with. So just getting right into it, and then we'll get more into the numbers over here. But if we're just looking at this sheet on the left-hand side, how to standardize mowing prices. Okay, first, have a minimum charge. Like, you have overhead costs, you have all this stuff, you know, you have time, you're away from your family. I don't care how small the property is, just have a minimum charge. In my area, $45 is a solid minimum charge. There are plenty of companies that'll cut for $25, $30, $35, whatever, $40. But it's just ridiculous. They're losing money. They're going out of business. They're doing poor quality work. So I don't worry about them. So our minimum is $45, and I know that varies from area to area. So to me, it's like if it's under 7,000 square feet, it's probably going to be a minimum charge, but we'll get into that probably part in just a second. So know how long it will take you to do the job from experience. So it's very important to have cut grass before, and you know how long it's going to take you just by looking at it. So you can look at it. You don't necessarily need to know the square footage. I personally like to know the square footage just as a reference point, but as we get to step number 3 here, square footage does play a big factor, but there are other things to consider. So measure the property, but take these into consideration. Drive time. How well does this new lawn fit into your route? If it doesn't fit in well and you're going to have an extra 5 or 10 minutes of drive time, then you need to account for that based off your man-hour rate. So does it have hills? This is just more like a labor burden thing. Small gates. Do you need to grab the push mower or the commercial 30 off the truck instead of using your 48, 52, 60, 61, 72, whatever size mower? You know, and then look at excessive trimming. Do they have, you know, is it a corner lot with twice as much edging? Do they have a trampoline, a bird feeder, a play set, etc., etc., etc.? So all that kind of stuff. So you're going to base your price off your man-hour rate. Unless it's a minimum charge job, then you'll just charge your minimum rate. And that's why minimum charge jobs are so profitable, because you're getting over and beyond your necessary man-hour rate for your company to be profitable. So if we just look at it going backwards, how many hours do you want to work a week? We're just assuming this is a one-man show here, just trying to keep the numbers very simple and easy to understand. How many hours do you want to work in a week? 40. Okay, how many weeks are in your area's growing season? You know, the season's not year-round in all areas. In my area, it's about 40 weeks, so I'm just, you know, basing it off that. 40 weeks, you're working 40 hours a week, so you're working 1,600 hours over the course of a year. How much do you want to make as the owner of this business? I put in $60,000. What are your expenses? $20,000. So to be able to cover the $60,000 in wages and the $20,000 in expenses, you need to make $80,000 in 1,600 hours. So if you divide 80,000 by 1,600 hours, you get $50 per hour. So in 8 hours of work per day, you need to produce $400 to reach your goal. So how many lawns can you cut in 8 hours? If you can cut 8 hours or 8 lawns in 8 hours, then you need to charge $50 per lawn. So obviously, you know, some are going to be smaller, some are going to be larger, you know, some are going to have other factors that are going to affect the price. But the bottom line is, no matter how many lawns you cut that day, the total price needs to add up to $400 for you to make this $80,000, for you to cover your $20,000 in expenses and pay yourself $60,000. So let's go through that and just another way over here on this side. For this example, like I said, it's just a one-man show. He's only offering lawn mowing just to keep everything simple. So you just need to know the cost to operate your business. Simply add up every expense. This is going to be easy to do if you have a business bank account and you're paying for everything with a business credit card or a business check. So, you know, your bank will literally track all of this for you. You don't even have to do anything. And if you have employees on payroll, the payroll company's tracking the hours, you know, based off the information you give them every pay period. So you have all this information. It's not like it's super overwhelming to get or to do. But just as noted, some, you know, include all expenses. So your truck payment, your mower payment. Do you have a storage unit or a rent, or you're writing off part of your mortgage? Software costs, phone, internet, marketing, repairs, accounting fees, taxes, license, every single expense. You know, are you doing meals and entertainment? And a side note, entertainment is not an expense, a business expense anymore. With the new tax laws that just passed. So you can still write off half of your meals, but entertainment is not included anymore. So shout out to Jim Crusby for letting me know that on our phone conversation the other day. So I'm not including wages in this scenario here as an expense because it is just single employee business with the owner doing the work. So that is going to make it a flow-through entity, whether it's a sole proprietorship, an LLC, or an S corp, or an LLC taxed as an S corp. The money's coming into the business, but when it comes down to doing the taxes, that the money in the business flows down to the business owner, and it's taxed at that rate. So total expenses $20,000 for the year. So to cover all these expenses right here, we got $20,000. You need $20,000. So if he works 40 hours a week, 40 weeks out of the year, that's 1,600 man hours. So I'm using the same numbers just to do a little repetition here. So $20,000 divided by 1,600 man hours means all he needs to produce is $12.50 to break even. So this is a break even hourly rate here. So you definitely don't want to charge that because you're literally not making any money at all. You're just covering your expenses right here. So say he cuts $400 worth of grass in 8 hours a day. I think that is so reasonable. If you can't cut $400 of grass in 8 hours a day by yourself, your lawns are priced too low, or you have way too much drive time in between stops, or you don't have the proper equipment. It just comes down to you probably just don't know like what you're doing. You're not cutting the grass like a professional would and a professional man, a professional speed. So that's a whole nother issue that we're not going to get into here. But I think $400 worth of grass in 8 hours is no problem. My two-man crews, they cut $800 worth of grass to $1,200 worth of grass in 8 to 10, 12 hours a day. So if you multiply that by 5 days in a week, that's your 40 hours a week. So that's $2,000 in revenue per week. $2,000 in revenue per week times the 40 weeks in the year, you got $80,000. So $80,000 in total revenue divided by the 1,600 man hours worked. There you get your $50 an hour. So as long as you can cut a property and get to the next one and cut it, say you have eight you're going to cut in that day, as long as with drive time included and everything, you're getting them done. And assuming this 1,600 man hours may even include whatever kind of office work you have, or sharpening the blades, repairs, oil changes, etc., all that kind of stuff. And if you get service autopilot, you take your office time down to like nothing. That's why a lot of guys are like, oh, I'm with the yard book or this or that. Guys, you're just wasting your time, where you could be making so much more money if you didn't have to spend all that time messing around with yard book, when service autopilot's a legitimate invoicing software that saves you time, which saves you money, which will allow your business to grow. So don't don't hold yourself back by being cheap on a couple bucks on your software program. But I hope that made sense. Trying to convey this information in the best way I can, and I know it's a little confusing, but hopefully maybe this sparked something in your head where you're like, oh, I kind of get it now. So please let me know if it was good. If you liked the video, please remember to like and subscribe. Greatly appreciate you watching. It's Ryan with Lawn Crack. Catch you on another video. Keep making money.